The service industry in North America has an unsaid rule known as the tipping culture. Servers in restaurants expect to be tipped from every table for every meal. Instead of this being an option, places have now started mandating it by demanding a minimum tip of 15 to 18% per table. There have been several cases of staff bad-mouthing the customers and restaurants misbehaving with the customers who refuse to tip. This culture is spreading faster than COVID-19. Businesses are using this to make extra money, to an extent where even places which do not serve you on the table are asking for tips. Hello and welcome to Logic Uncovered, where today we will understand the logic, or in this case the lack of logic, behind this tipping culture in North America. If you ask a random server why is it that they expect tips, the common answer is it's because they're a part of the service industry. Oh, alright. From major businesses like banks, financial services, IT support, tech support, infrastructure, to small businesses like grass mowing, lawn mowing, garbage collection, snow clearing, etc., several people are a part of the service industry. None of them get tipped for their job. 99.9% of the people working in the service industry do not get tipped for their job. To this, the common answer is, oh, we are in the food service industry. Okay, let's break that down. The process begins with our farmers. The farmers are the real heroes of our society who bear the burden of growing the food that we eat every day. Next come the wholesalers and the distributors. The wholesalers and the distributors are the unsung heroes of the supply chain. Their main job is to ensure that the food is infestation free and is handled correctly to reach the retailers at the right time. The retailers are the ones who will either distribute it to us or forward it to the restaurants, who will then prepare the food. Next in line comes the chefs and the cooking team who will actually do the job of preparing the meal. Remember, when you think of a chef or a cook, they are preparing more than 1,000 dishes a day, every day, for 6 days a week. In this entire chain of farm to plate, there are multiple people involved who are either a part of growers, or distributors, or wholesalers, or logistic partners. All of these people belong to the food service industry. How many of these people do you think get tipped for their jobs? That's right, none. The next argument is, all these people are B2B, whereas the servers are B2C. Again, you're wrong. There are so many people who are B2C, like the cashiers in Walmarts and Sobeys and in the grocery stores. Also, several farmers sell their food products directly to people in farmers markets. That is also a B2C model. Apart from these, there are so many other people working in the B2C model directly dealing with customers, from bank staff to retailers to others. I'm sure a lot of y'all watching this video right now are belonging to the B2C model who directly deal with customers. How many of y'all get tipped for your work? But for the sake of clarity, let's stick to the food service industry and try to logically uncover what percentage value is added by each step that we have listed above. The percentage denomination is my interpretation of the value chain and only a calculated estimation. Let's begin with our farmers. We'll give them 70% credit for our meals. The reason? No farmer is equal to no meals. That's true. But farmers also face a lot of competition amongst themselves. So let's give them 70, because you may not always eat just vegetables. You have lots of other options to eat, from protein, chicken, milk, etc. Next up are the wholesalers, distributors, and retailers. We'll give them all a combined credit of 25%. The reason is that several retailers have now become wholesalers and distributors themselves, and there is very little differentiation between the entire business model. So let's give them credit together. Also, their role is very important as they help to maintain the temperature of the food and help to keep the food infestation free. None of us intentionally consume stale food. We finally get to the cooks and the chefs. We'll give them 4.99% credit. The reason is simple. They do a very good job of preparing delicious meals. But if they don't do their job, the food will not go to waste. Eventually, someone will cook it. We can cook it. Of course, it will not be as tasty, but the food will definitely not go to waste. And finally comes the servers. We'll give them 0.01% credit. The logic? They merely keep tables, take orders, and deliver the food from one side of the kitchen to the customers. Fast food restaurants have eliminated this step decades ago by making people take their own plates from the counters. Clearly, if you don't serve me, then the food isn't going to sit there all day. I'm definitely going to go and take it myself. Yes, they do take orders, clean tables, and put up a fake smile, but that's a part of the hospitality business, not a part of the food service industry. So in an industry where they are contributing merely 0.01%, they want 15 to 18% of the tips. Are you serious? This is outrageous. How is this logical? Ask yourself, whatever job you do, would your employer be willing to give you 15% of the company's revenue for doing less than 1% of the job? I'm sure the answer is going to be no. To the above statements, a lot of you will argue back and say that it is a dining experience that makes people feel welcome in restaurants, and these servers and people working there make it a very good environment for people to come and visit again. Alright, I agree with that, but if it's a hospitality matter, then the matter starts from a different aspect. Now that you're considering the whole thing as an experience, the experience begins from the place being set, from the interiors of the place, from the decor, even the places where the tables are going to be set, the bar counters, all of that is combined into the topic that you're talking about now. The food being served makes or breaks the experience. If the food isn't good, then the ambience doesn't matter. People aren't going to come there ever again if they have a terrible experience with the food. However, if the ambience is good, people will visit again, but that's an add-on and not a priority. Now let's move on to the next topic and see how the division of tips works. The restaurant have started charging electronic tips in the last 2 decades, and once these tips are received, the restaurant distributes them evenly amongst all the workers working in that place. If you look at the chores being done in a place, they're clearly different for the cooks, for the cleaners, the ones who take out the trash, the ones who do the dishes, and the ones who keep tables. It's extremely difficult at the back end and extremely easy at the front end. It would be really bad if the tips had been equally divided, as the work is not equal. With a major difference in the type of work and a minor difference in the salary, people have realized that they can make a lot more money by working overtime as servers as compared to working as cooks full time. A cook working for 6 hours under pressure, delivering dish after dish for different tables, keeping the place running, will be exhausted by the end of his shift, whereas a server can easily pull off 2 shifts, work 12 hours, and make way more money than the cook. Further, when people don't like a dish, they end up refusing to eat it and it's sent back to the kitchen only for the chef to re-prepare it. Again, the chef and the cooking team come under pressure. The logic is simple here. When you can make more money by just keeping tables, why do the hard work and take the blame? After the outbreak of COVID-19, when the restaurants started dining in again, it is the position of a cook and a chef that was the most sought after. People came back to keep tables, they came back to do the other jobs, but no one wanted to come back as a cook because of the working environment and because of such rules. Now here comes the scam from the restaurants. The restaurants are clever. They know the laws very well. As per the laws of Ontario, Canada, a restaurant cannot take tips from their servers unless they want to take it to redistribute it amongst the rest of the crew. Meaning the restaurant has the ability to take cash tips as well, only to let them know that they're going to redistribute it. But they do not need to disclose the figure that is being redistributed to the place. Also, they do not need to share the revenue or the amount of tips they received electronically to the entire team. As per several reports, only 25% of the tips are given over or handed over to the people working there, and more than 75% of it is kept by the restaurants as additional revenue. Every major business realized what these restaurants are doing, and instead of voicing against this culture, they started milking the customers. Every business has now started asking for tips. Food delivery apps like Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes have started asking for tips for the drivers for simply delivering the food from a restaurant to your place. And if that's not enough, if you refuse to tip them, they have said that your order may take longer than expected. Transport companies like Uber and Lyft have started asking for tips for the drivers per ride. Even the fast food industry is not lagging behind. They've also started realizing that this is an additional source of revenue for them and hence have started asking for tips for merely serving food in paper bags. Everyone's on board the milk every customer train. Why should we tip you if you're not even serving us on the table? So here are some of our logical solutions to improve the situation. First of all, spread the word. Put every business under pressure. The state laws should be such that they prohibit restaurants and apps from asking for a 15 to 18% tip option. If you want to pass on a tip, I request you to call the cook outside and pass over a cash tip to him instead of passing over a cash tip to the server. I can bet you if you pass over a cash tip to the server, it's never going to anyone else. And to all the servers out there, this message is for you. Tips are not your paychecks. So don't rely on tips and don't complain when you don't get tips. Instead, be happy and thankful when you get it instead of rolling your eyes when you don't. Do you think it is logical to ask for tips for every service industry? I mean, if this culture continues, very soon a bank teller will be asking me for tips, and then, even for crossing a road, the person who installed the signal will be asking me for tips. This is getting out of hand. This has to stop. What are your suggestions? Let me know in the comments. Please share this video with your friends and to other people living in North America and other places in the world. Let me know how the tipping culture is from where you belong. Thank you for watching. See you guys soon.